Hey, how you doing out there, survivors? It's been quite a while since we did any kind of Let's Survive interviews, but I'm delighted to be back doing them again. And, when we started the channel here, it wasn't just about horror games, it was about horror overall, because, like, horror is one of those things that I'm super passionate about. Even, for example, my daughter visited me last night, and we sat down and, like, discussed what horror movie we were going to watch until she fell asleep and we didn't watch any horror movie. But horror is everything. And so with that in mind, I have an awesome guest today who is basically an entrepreneur, website creator / manager, social media branding expert, and all-around horror fanatic and TikToker, everything in between. Mar Garcia of the Bold Mom Horror. How you doing, Mar?
Hey, hello. Thank you for having me. You made it sound too well. I do all of these things.
It's always hard to hear what we do from somebody else, like, because like I'm the same. I'm like, I don't do anything like that, do I? And they're like, Paddy, you make video games, you make movies, you do this. I'm like, yeah, but I'm just a nerd.
Yes, like do all those things.
I tried to make sure that I got them all, because I was like, you do a lot, like, and even looking at your social stuff, like, you post an amazing amount of social stuff. I wish I could learn from you.
Because I have so much fun with this.
But it's really good because, like,
can't help it.
In the age of, like, where we are now with, like, TikTok and stuff, I'm like a boomer, and I don't, like, I'm trying to be better with it. But I love how, like, you find these, like, sounds that just match perfectly. Like, you come up with really clever little snippets.
I just picked up a hitchhiker, and he seemed like a nice guy, and after a couple minutes he said, "Aren't you worried that I might be a serial killer?" And I was like, no, the chances of two serial killers being in the same car.
Oh, they are amazing. They are so fun, so fun. And I must admit that I was terrified of TikTok at first time, because I didn't want, I mean, now you see me a lot, like my face, but I normally I didn't do that. Like, I was always behind the scenes.
Okay.
And when TikTok appeared, I thought, I have to do it. I have to be there, like everyone. So I just jumped, and it happened that I had lots of fun. So yeah. I'm just silly around it.
But that's what I don't know. I think what I love is, like, again, the average kind of, like, expectation for a horror fan from, like, normal people. What is normal people? What is normal people? The average expectation is that we're, like, dark and grim and, like, everything sucks and blah. But, like,
oh no,
horror fans, from going to festivals and everything over the years, like, horror fans are the silliest, goofiest, wackiest people.
We're fluffy and lovely.
It's true. Like, just like, we're like Tim Burton's hair. We're fluffy and lovely.
Yes, actually, it's like the metal community. I mean, all my metal fans, they are all teddy bears, all of them, you know. So it's just a stereotype.
It is.
Well, we pretend we are.
it's kind of both, right? Because it's like, we are lovely and lovable, etc. But it's also like, don't ever really truly piss off or upset like a horror fan, because we've seen all the movies, we know what to do.
Exactly. We know how to do exactly. Yes. We could be piling up corpses in our basement and no one would know.
But it's so funny, right? The stereotype thing is so true, because even I'm part of, like, the community, and I'd still occasionally accidentally do it. Like, one of my best friends that I met at a festival years ago, he's like 6'3", undercut, covered in tattoos. Yeah, his name's Brooker. He has the Freddy glove from New Nightmare tattooed on his hand.
Yes.
And I was kind of terrified of him when I first saw him. I was like, oh my God, this guy's so scary. And now he is the biggest teddy bear, most lovable person, like, in the world.
Yeah, that's funny. It's just like the horror community is so embracing. It's the best community to be in. They are always game for everything. They are fun. They have humor black as coal. It's everything is easy with them.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that extends to the way we are in
Yeah,
general.
true. So I suppose to kind of bring it back then a little bit, like what prompted you to start like the website and start like pushing your love for horror out into the world? Like,
I wish I had the glamorous answer for that, but the true reason for that was that, well, I'm obviously a horror fan, so that's something that I always had, because since I was a kid, I've been very introverted, and I think that horror brings you a way out for that.
Yeah.
Because you're not influenced by what's happening in the world, but what really interests you. It's a way of fighting your fears.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when my kid, she's afraid of something, like there's a monster under my bed. Okay, then what do? We draw it. We talk about it.
Yes.
We don't hide it, right? So that's the way. So I think that that's what horror does. We're just natural about anything. So. And the thing was that I found myself alone with my kid when she wasn't even 2 years old, and I had to do something. And because she was too little for me to leave the house or for go to school, so I thought, let's start something. And I just started talking. Actually, my Facebook, it's from that date. I wasn't in Facebook before. It says April 2017 in there.
Okay.
Yes. So I started adding a lot of writers, a lot like no shame, like adding everyone.
Same. That was me as well when I started doing the film. I was just like, Tom Savini ad. I don't care. Like if you can say no.
Yes, exactly. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
And from there, I started building. I had first a blog, then I turned into a website, and I don't know how this happened, but here we are. So that's the main story.
It's so cool though. Like, and it's so funny what you're saying there. Like, I feel like that's another thing that bonds or brings together a lot of horror fans is like, I think a lot of people in this community grew up kind of introverted or still are. I mean, I've always said I'm the most introverted extrovert at the party because everyone will be like, you're having so much fun. You're having so much fun. You're loving it. Yeah. And inside I'm like, I want to be at home, cuddled up, like watching horror movies or a show or something. I don't want to be here.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
But I love what you said as well about like confronting the kind of fears because again, even when we break that down to like mental health and stuff, like that's when you're older and you look at horror, you watch something like The Babadook or you watch something where it's about mental health, it helps you to like break that down and go like, okay, I'm going through a tough time right now, but like, how do we fight the monster? How do we get rid of the monster? What do we do?
Exactly. I think that the natural response for someone who's into horror is something happens. What do we do?
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like a joke, like a run in The Walking Dead. But it's I think that it's because we don't have taboos. And that's a very good thing. I hate taboos. I don't want taboos in my life, not with my kids, not with anyone. And I think that's healthy. And that's why the horror community is healthy. We have fun, we're sincere, we just don't care about the stereotypes or anything. I don't know, if a horror fan wants to go dressed all in pink, we don't care.
Yeah.
No one is going to judge,
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I like about the community, that we just like what we like and we have fun and that's it. And slow down, relax, have a beer.
Exactly. Something I really like there though is the whole taboos thing. Like again, like I have that friend that I was talking about with the tattoos and everything, like the 6'3" guy. His favorite movie, like he's like my comfort movie, my go-to movie if I want to like calm down after a quiet day or a hard day at the office, is Martyrs, which like most people would not be their like their comfort movie.
Yeah.
But like that again, this guy's a teddy bear, but he's just like, that's the thing that like he was like, I could, whereas I'm the opposite. I'm like, I love Martyrs, but I could like watch it once and then like maybe in like 10 years I'll watch it again.
Yes, exactly. Well, horror is so wide. I mean, it's so That's the beauty of the genre too.
I was going to say something there just to annoy you based on your TikToks when you said it was so wide. I was going to say, yeah, like dark romance, you know.
I need to feel something. Harry, can you tell me something that'll piss me off? Boba Fett's better than Mondo. Yep, that'll do it.
Dark romance.
Yeah, it's that, you know, because I mean, loving so much the dark romance community. I mean, I have absolutely nothing against anything and anything, anyone. I mean, okay, everything is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry to say, I have had a lot of people trying to, not the word is sneak. Sorry, I don't want to make anyone upset. Like, asking me to promote dark romance. Like, it's dark romance, so it fits with horror, so promote my material. No, no, it's not that. I mean, 50 Shades is one thing.
Yeah.
Okay? And The Evil Dead is another one.
Yes. Yeah.
I find it easy to understand, but it's really, I mean, because they say no, because they cross lines. No, they don't. They are like 100 miles away, the lines, you know.
You can't even see them anymore, yeah.
Yes. So every time someone says, because what I think is, people who like the dark romance, they come from romance.
Yeah.
I mean, they got there from romance. So they are not used to the macabre and to the horror. So they think that's so strong, you know, like so scary, so disturbing. And it's not. It's not. And it's fine. It's completely fine. The thing is that I cannot give my audience dark romance.
Yeah.
I mean, they would just throw a chair to my head. They're like, what is this bullshit? You know? So yes, I can't just do it. It's not that I don't want to help.
Yeah.
I even say, hey, if you want, I will get you in touch with other reading blogs. Exactly, but I can't promote your material because it's not horror. Yes, it's horror. No, it's not. You get there. So, you know, when I heard that, because I took that audio from a friend of mine who is the founder of Darkleak Press and Horror Oasis, Andrew, and he was doing something like that. Hey, tell me something that will piss me off. And I thought, that's fine.
I love that. Like when I've discovered your TikTok, I used to laugh so much at any of the dark romance ones where it's like horror, not horror, not horror.
Yes. Actually, I have another one that I was laughing doing it because I had a lot of fun. That is, do you know the Minions? The kids, movies, yes. Have you? Yes.
Papoy. Eh? Papoy? Makala na papoy. No. Papoy. Ah, papoy.
Like, it's I don't know. It's something. I think it will never change. I mean, I love the dark romance community.
Yeah.
I love you so much. Really, it's okay. It's perfectly fine.
That's it.
But it's not the same. And that's the beauty between keeping them separated. I mean, they don't want the horror audience.
Yeah.
Because the horror audience are not going to enjoy the material. Yeah. So are going to leave bad reviews or are going to complain. You don't want that. You want to target your audience for what they want.
Yeah.
So it's not good for them either.
Like, I suppose there are very rare instances of overlap. Like, because there was one book I read about a year ago. And it was really good, but it was basically like a Jason style killer, like a serial killer turns up to like kill this cheerleader, typical kind of horror story. But then like they've kind of fall in love with each other, and like as he's like trying to hunt her, they're like, but it's like it's still like it's much more, as I say, it's like anything. It's like horror comedy and stuff. There's like a weight. It's like, where is it? Is it like way up on the comedy and down here on the horror? Is it way? It's the same. It's like this book was like up here on the horror and down here on the romance. But like I know the ones that like you're talking about and stuff are much more the like 50 Shades style, like just erotica.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's okay, but
the overlap's not quite the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, well, but now that you mentioned comedy, horror is pure comedy. I mean, it's
absolutely
they hold hands. I mean, look at The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
What's more comedy than that?
Shaun of the Dead, another one. Like
exactly all the 80s movies that are the killer something, the killer tomatoes, the killer donuts. killer,
Clowns.
coach, killer vet. Yeah, I mean, it's everything is. So that's the good thing about horror. You just laugh about things.
That's one.
Don't worry. The other, yes, the other genres are so serious. You know.
That's it. You won't get people to form a community around, we'll say, drama. Like, how can people form a community around like, oh my God, I love the part where everyone got really sad and like they were sitting around a table crying. That was so cool. No, but you'll have people after a festival sit around and be like, did you see when she got her head cut off and it flew across the thing? And, you know, like, people get excited about that stuff, you know?
Exactly. And how did they put the hook in his throat? And I mean, everything is exciting about horror movies. And the older, the better.
I agree. I will say one cool thing that I've enjoyed with my own daughters, particularly my eldest, she's 11, so she is at that age where she's getting into it, but she's been on my film sets and stuff. So in a weird way, a little bit of the magic is gone for her. Like, in a weird way, she doesn't look at something and go like, oh my God. She's like, I wonder how they did that. Like, they must have put a pipe. Like, she's like analyzing it. And I kind of feel like I've taken that magic from her, because I remember seeing Hellraiser when I was her age and just being like,
yeah.
I suppose that's a good question, actually. Like, Hellraiser, even though I've seen other horror films before, that was like my obsession that got me like obsessed with the genre. I'd love to know, like, what was the movie or the media that got you like obsessed with horror?
Well, obsessed. It was at my 13th, I think, when I was 13. I mean, I had known things before, but because an English teacher just played The Ring.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. That's the face. Yes, that's the face. So it was like, even now, if you ask me which movie terrifies me, I will still say The Ring. I mean, if I watched it now, I would say like, look, she's crawling around, you know. But in that moment, I was terrified. Like, she's going out the TV. I saw death in all the corners during months. I didn't want to watch the TV. I had nightmares. But when that feeling healed, then I was so interested. Like, wow, is there more movies like that? Yes. And what, you know?
Yes, that was the exact
something like that.
It's like an adrenaline rush. And then you're like, I want to find the next thing that makes me feel like that. I want to find the next thing that makes me. Yeah, like what's interesting is you saying that. I years ago I was at a friend's house and he gave me like I was really sick and he was going to college and he was like, here, like, watch whatever you want, and he left all these videotapes out. And there was one I picked up and it was just like a blank tape with like Ringu written on it. And I was like, oh, what the hell is this? And I put it on and watched it, and I was so fucking scared after it, because I was like, do I have to give this video to somebody else? Like, what to do? Like, I was convinced I'd just watch the actual movie from the movie.
Yeah. Let's start the chain.
Yeah, and like, I've been playing like Dead by Daylight recently, and like everyone's terrified of Michael Myers, and I'm not. Like, Michael Myers is my homie. I'm like, cool, whatever. I love Michael Myers. Sadako shows up, I'm gone. I like disconnect. I'm like, no, I can't fucking deal with this. I can't deal with Sadako, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so it was about because as I say, I got into horror. Like, I think me and a friend used to go rent videotapes of horror when we were kids. We'd like go to the shop and we'd rent like Halloween 4, like that kind of stuff. But as I say, for me, like Hellraiser, it was like seeing the Cenobites and seeing like those practical effects. I was like, whoa, this is... No,
it's amazing. It's a terrific movie.
Oh, I said it to my daughter yesterday because I showed her the trailer for the new Hulu movie. And I said it to her, I was like, the original of this is Daddy's favorite movie of all time. But you can't watch it because it's very, very inappropriate for you at 11 years of age. I watched it at 12. Oh no.
And here we are.
Do you notice that as a parent?
It's okay.
Do you notice that as a parent that like you're like, I want to protect my children from X, Y, Z, and you're like, when I was their age, I was doing way worse.
Yes, I think now we protect them way too much. True. I mean, it's okay to be safe, but hey, the kind of trash that they see on YouTube and on social media. I mean, I prefer my kids with 9 years old watching Hellraiser
Yeah.
than
Some of the
seeing all of the
trash.
stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, because at the end, horror is fiction. You can explain to them that it's fiction.
True.
But what's so sad about social media is that it's true.
Yeah.
It's real people doing stupid stuff and losing all dignity and selling themselves in a terrible way. So I find that more scary than horror fiction. Like, yeah, that head is fake. Don't worry, honey. It's okay. He still has his head on. The actor is okay.
That's such a cool outlook. I love that. Like, I remember we watched, me and Piper watched It, Chapter 1 and 2, not so long ago. She was obsessed because she was like, Pennywise was everywhere. She was like upset. She was like, I need to see these movies. And we watched them. And the one part that I found, like you said about taboos, right? One of the parts that was like hard to explain, but like important to explain was she could handle killer clown. She could handle all of that. But it was Bev's dad. She was like, why is he being so creepy with her? And I was like, oh, this is going to be very hard to explain to an 11-year-old in a normal family environment, that like there are people are so much worse than the monsters sometimes.
Exactly. So I think that it's good for them that we normalize these things. I mean, if you keep them in a bubble, they're gonna go out there anytime.
Yeah.
So
they won't know what to look out for.
Exactly. So I think that it's good for them that they know they can talk about anything.
True.
You know, so I think that horror brings that to you. For example, my kid loves drawing monsters.
Yes.
But monsters, not the cutie pie kind of ones. No. Monsters. And she's gonna be 9 in November. I mean, she's in 4th grade. And that's because when she was scared of monsters, I said, let's draw them. Let's draw the monsters, you know? So we started drawing, and she started drawing, and they are awesome. I mean, I have amazing drawings from her. And what happens? That then at the school, let's draw something, and she draws a monster.
No.
She gets in the car. Yeah, what did you do today? I drew. What did you draw? What did you draw? I drew a monster. Okay, like the good kind of monster or your kind of monster? No, my kind of monster. What's the point of a cute monster? You know? So, and I said, okay, I'll just wait for the teacher's call, you know?
That's something that all horror parents have had as well. Because again, my mate Brooker, myself, you, I've now heard it from everyone, is that call where it's like, is your child okay? Should we set up some form of therapy? Or like, you know? You're like, monsters are their therapy, all right?
Exactly, that's it. I mean, what about the kids that torture other kids?
Exactly.
And I mean, that's an awful monster too. And you can ruin someone's life just for torturing them at the school. So what's up with those kids? No one ever says a thing, you know? And my kid needs a psychiatrist because she draws a monster with a falling eye. You know, it's...
Oh my God, it's so friggin' true. Quick thing is actually, you're one thing that really drew me actually to your kind of socials as well, is you push a lot of horror literature, and that's something that I like. Horror literature growing up was just, I'm not even gonna lie, it was like Stephen King. It was like, who else is there? I don't know, there's Dean Koontz or someone, but like Stephen King. It was like when I was growing up, that was like your horror literature. James Herbert maybe, or whatever. But now there's so many amazing, talented, phenomenal horror writers.
So many, tons of them.
Yeah.
Tons of them.
And like some of the ones you've highlighted on your channel and stuff are like really gnarly stuff, like grisly, like darker than dark. So like that's why I felt comfortable recommending you to friends of mine, because I was like, you like really fucked up shit, right?
Oh, thank you.
And they're like, oh yeah, the darker the better. I'm like, okay, you should yeah, go to Mar. She'll hook you up.
Hi, thank you so much. It's okay.
In terms of that, what do you have? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot because I sometimes hate questions like this, but like, is there anything you've read recently that you'd like super recommend to like anybody watching this like interview? As like a, you know, especially if they are on that like the more fucked up the better side of things.
Yes, I I have a few favorites, but I always have in my mind one book that is called 3 Days in Ashford
Okay.
by Ty Tracy. That, I mean, now he's about to release another book,
Ooh.
which I can't wait to read. That, I mean, it's a big book.
Yeah.
It's not like a quick read, but first off, he's an amazing writer. But there's a lot of amazing writers, even more in the self-publishing
Yeah.
industry. But he makes his part, and like it's psychological horror, so it's not blood and guts and all of that. That's fun. That's fun. It's not
Yeah.
scary. It's just fun. But he creates the terror between universes, like
Okay.
what you believe that it's happening and what you realize what is happening. And it starts with no, I'm not gonna give a spoiler,
Yeah.
more or less, so people know what it's about, so they feel like reading it. Like a team of these ghost hunters that they just go to places with paranormal activity and all of that, and they get trapped in like this place, like the Blair Witch Project, that you
Okay.
can't get out. You know, and they yes, it's like a village.
Yeah.
It's not properly a house. But from there, it's like a volcano. It just explodes into all the horrific parallel world that is found in that place, and it really makes you ask yourself a lot of questions, and it's really, really scary. A little ago, I was telling the author that I still have nightmares with
Oh my
one of the characters. It's a thing. It's like a thing. But I still think of it. So when I think of a book that is scary, I think of this author. There's more, I mean, a lot. And I've read a lot, and there are amazing books. But this one is one that has, there with me. Yeah.
Stayed with you. Like, yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting because I suppose for me, like, it's like I love psychological horror. I love all forms of horror, but psychological horror is the only one that really scares me. Like, as in, I could, blood, guts, whatever, it's fun. We can all laugh at it and have, but like when it gets like really into the psychological stuff, I like, because as you just said there, something you said is so true. It makes you like ask questions of yourself, and when you start asking questions of yourself, that's when you start getting scared.
Yes.
And one of the books that I was most like impressed by in the last couple of years for that was the Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. Because like that was just so, I was like, this is such a cute little book about this girl and her parents and blah, and then it's like these four people show up and there's no bad guy in it. That's the thing about like the Cabin at the End of the World, and that's what I like in I like stories where it isn't like, here's the clear good guy and here's the clear bad guy. It's like, I like where it's like, look, everyone's just doing their best, all right? Like, everyone's just doing their best. There's no... if you were in their shoes, you might do the same thing. And if you were in their shoes, you might do the same thing, so...
Exactly. Exactly. That's a fun thing about horror. To ask yourself, what would you do?
Yeah.
It's so easy to judge from outside, like, don't run there. Don't you see? Don't you hear the music? You know,
Pick the keys up. Pick the keys up.
Why is she falling off all the time? Just get to the car and leave, you know?
Yeah.
She tripped over 30 times before getting to the car, and then she has 30 keys to choose between before she can open the car. You know, like, I have one key for my car.
It's so true, like.
So, yeah. I think it's not even fun for the one who's chasing her. You know?
Yeah.
Like, just run straight, don't fall off. It's not fun anymore. So, yeah, but I think, psychological horror, that's a good thing about it. That for yesterday I was watching, that is not horror, but because Fridays are pizza and movie with my kids.
Nice,
you know?
nice.
And we were watching Sonic 2.
Oh, what a movie.
And yeah, and while I was, because I love Jim Carrey so much.
He's so good.
He just made for the, so I was texting a friend while I was watching the movie, telling him, am I the only one that it's often in the villain's side?
Yeah.
Because the red guy is much cooler than Sonic. I mean, I don't want Sonic to win. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
there's always that fine line that the fact that it's a villain.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I don't know,
exactly.
the
What is
psycho
a
or
villain?
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what is a villain? Like in Criminal Minds, a lot of episodes in Criminal Minds, which I love because I like Criminal Minds so much. Um, you are in the side of the psychopath at
Yeah.
some point because all of them have crazy psycho moms that
Yeah,
tortured them
yeah,
while they were kids.
exactly.
Behind every psycho, there's a crazy mom.
Or even
That's what Criminal Minds comes down to.
so,
So you feel bad. Like, of course he's killing people. Well, what is he supposed to do? You
his
know?
mom was a bitch. Like seriously.
Yeah. Of course. Just go, enjoy yourself. You know.
So like that is something though that like I also find like crazy as well with the like again right psychological horror stuff. When you have like a killer in that stuff and it goes into like their backstory and they don't have any of that, that's when I get like really freaked out as well because I'm like, oh, I hate that like a person, we always put it that like, oh, somebody who is a killer is made by, because again media tells us that it's like, oh no, serial killers are people that like pull the wings off of bees or butterflies or whatever, and they like did all this awful shit. But then like you see someone and you're like, oh no, that was just some rich frat guy kid. Like in reality you're like, that was some rich frat guy kid who had loads of money.
Yes.
And like
yeah
and it goes back to what it's weird how there's a little loop around here, but it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Sometimes I think that in reality the people that become like that, it's because they were surrounded by cotton wool and told they could do no wrong and nothing was bad in the world that they could ever do. And then they don't know what it's like to be told no or to not do something, and they become the monster, you know?
Exactly. Yes, I think that the rich, spoiled kid monster kind of like, that's more scary.
Yeah.
Because it's like anyone can be like that. They are just I'm not saying born because I think it's a product.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that there are kids like that doing terrible things. Because they have the resources to do it.
Yeah, it's like
it's
oh no, it's like I don't know, it's not necessarily a horror game, but like there's this game Life is Strange, and in that like one of the characters in it is this rich preppy guy, and like that you realize that the reason he's a monster isn't because he had like this awful brutal upbringing, but it's because it was like that typical like you have to be better for the family, you know, the family like always looked down on because he wasn't living up to the family standards. And like you say, it's still, whether it's a media or reality or whatever, like it's this idea that again monsters aren't just born or whatever, they're created by their environment, you know, by the things that happen to them. You know.
Yes. Look, now that you say this, yesterday I was just a TikTok video popped up that it was a woman saying, sorry, if a flower doesn't bloom, who you blame? You blame the flower or you blame the environment?
Yeah.
So I think that with this, it's exactly the same, you know?
Yeah.
Who do you blame?
It's true.
The product or the fabric, the material that has built that,
or
and
the
that
gardener,
has influenced
or do you
that.
blame the gardener?
Exactly. So that's why I think horror is so great, because it brings up all of these things.
Oh yeah.
And it's not all rainbows and candy and pink bubbles, you know. It's because that's not true. Like, and a lot of sometimes I'm so lucky my kid doesn't like fantasy. I mean, all this kind of bubbly thing. And sometimes I have watched some of these movies and I think, but that's not true. I mean, who are you lying to? You know, the world is not like that. It's not like someone that once told me, I don't blame, like she was so disappointed on men and said, I don't blame Disney for that, because many times we say, yeah, Disney told us that there was your prince and Prince Charming. Then she said, I don't blame Disney, I blame Vikings. So this is quite the same. Like fantasy sells to the kids a kind of material that they obsess with. They are obsessed with Frozen and with Ariel and with the princesses. That's not like that. I mean, they are gonna just crash a wall if they don't understand that that's not true.
It's true, and again, like it's so funny because in the same respect, like, you know, Freddy and Jason and Chucky, etc., they're not real, but they represent a kind of a side of reality, like where you will be chased by things. They might not be monsters, they might be physical things. They might be.
Yeah.
You'll be, you know, you'll have to, like,
depends on your circle.
Exactly. You know, if you watch a horror film and you see a scene where, like, somebody it goes into the bathroom and they fall to the ground, they're crying because of whatever's happening. That will probably happen to you at some point in your life about something. You will probably end up in a situation where you're lying on a bathroom floor crying because that's life.
Yeah.
You know?
That's life. Exactly. Yes, like sometimes, I don't know, not being able to pay your rent can be a monster.
Yeah.
It steals your sleep. So I think that's, I have always thought that normalizing the things that happen is the best.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, like that crazy psycho mama bear that every time that there's a problem, it's solved with cookies. That's not an option.
No.
So in horror, we just laugh at everything, and it's so healthy. But I think it's so healthy, and that's why we get along so well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why even going back to your content specifically, it's why it connects. It's why it connects, because like if I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see like one of your videos, like, and the message of it it's something that I relate to, or it makes me laugh because I'm like, that's so fucking true. Oh my god. You know, and I think again, a lot of us in the horror community, we think the same way, or we have very similar thought processes about things. So when you get like that little moment of like you almost do that like imaginary fist bump where you're like, oh, I fucking know, I got you. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Like I think I'll give you another example of one that I really enjoyed lately. Was the one about like if she lies in bed and she watches true crime shows and she's like listens to true crime podcasts and gets lulled to sleep by the sounds of whatever. Don't mess with her, bro. Don't break her heart.
She knows what to do.
Or there's loads, as I say, just little ones. Like there's ones that I've sent on to friends because they've been like my friend Barry, the one where it's like, you know,
I don't mind losing friends, but you, I can't lose you. You know too much, so it's either friendship or death.
It's so good. But just these, as I say, it's the sounds you find and stuff. That's what I find interesting, because they're so relatable.
Yes.
But yeah, like I suppose we talked about kind of horror literature, and that was a really cool shout. Have you ever been into, like, again, because I suppose this is primarily like it is more or less kind of a video game focused channel generally. Are you into like horror games at all? Do you enjoy?
Yeah, of course, I love them. Yeah. I've been playing games since I can remember. Yes. Yeah, sure, and my kids too.
Yes. So, like, what are some of your favorite horror games?
Well, I have a fond spot for Silent Hill.
Yes. Yes.
In my heart, I know it's a cliche and it's very. Oh,
it's so good. It's so good.
I just love it, and then I love all the action horror games like Alien and all of these. I mean, if I can blow up things and shot, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
So and now I have because we have a Steam.
Yes.
I have a Steam account, and my kid too. I mean, we share it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we don't share. We also play with her. Play Minecraft and Roblox and all of that. Hey, there's a lot of horror games in Roblox. People are so surprised about this, but they are. Yeah. I mean, you can just set a parental control that these games don't appear to your kid, because they are pretty.
They're pretty out there.
I mean, they are simple. Yes, but they are so creepy. So it's good. But that's the games that we have. We have 2 accounts, one for me, one for her, so we can play together.
Oh, that's cool.
For Roblox, Minecraft, and Among Us.
Oh,
which is also pretty creepy, eh?
Yeah. It's like it's the thing. It's just the thing. Like it really is.
Yes, it's funny because when I'm playing to Among Us with my kids, when you're waiting to see if you're crew or if you're the imposter, we are both with our
trying to look.
She's with the tablet and I'm with my phone. Yes, like, don't look at me. No, I'm not gonna tell you. And there's like a silent tension moment, like, and we have to, because it's a different music.
Yeah, exactly.
When it tells you. So you have to turn it off, like turning it off, so that, and when it finally appears what you are, we just look at each other. Super suspecting.
Poker face.
One another. Poker face. It's so fun. I love it so much. And so we have different accounts for Among Us, Minecraft, and Roblox, but for Steam, we have one account. I have mine. So I buy her the video games in there, but I don't let her check my games. Because she's too little. Yeah. I mean, I don't want her freaking out.
Games are different. Games are different because you're in it.
Yes.
Like,
exactly. Yeah. She sees them. It's like, I want to play this. No, you can't. Why not? It's a game. Yeah, but it's a scary. I let you play with my games, and you don't let me yours. I'm so hurt.
Horror games are different because I remember Piper watched all the Paranormal Activity movies. And she loved them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which, it's so weird because they don't affect me that much. But for her, like, I don't find them that scary. She did, but they were like her gateway horror drug. She obsessed. Because I was like, what can I show her that isn't too whatever? And then I realized my mistake. I was like, I would have been better off showing her Evil Dead or Brain Dead or something. Because, like, Paranormal Activity is the thing she's going to think about when she's lying in bed. She's like, what the fuck was that? Did something just move?
Exactly, yes. Yeah, Paranormal Activity it's creepy. It's a scary in the sense that it's just a camera in a house. I mean, it can happen, and it can happen. Yeah.
It feels more real.
Relatable. Yeah. Somehow. Yes, exactly. It feels more real. But the Evil Dead, you can just explain to them that that's fake blood and that it's just fun. It's just pretending. And the Evil Dead is so fun.
Yes.
I love the Evil Dead so much. And I would watch them again and again and again and again because I find them so funny.
Oh, they're so
funny.
Good. They're so good. Would you say that that's like one of your, like, when we talked about the films that you're like passionate about, like the Evil Dead would be like one of those comfort films for you?
Absolutely. Yes. And I like, there's a lot of movies that are fun. Yeah. This kind of cheesy movies. But The Evil Dead has like all the elements because Ash is so fun.
Yeah.
Even the series, the show that they made.
The show, so good.
Oh,
so good.
So good.
Oh, I loved it.
It was so fun. Yeah. He is so amazing. Yeah, everything he says is funny.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really, when I'm a bit down or something, I need Ash Williams in my life.
I need to pick up that game. That's one that I've been putting off for a while.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. I want to, because you can be a Kandarian demon, or you can be one of them. And one friend of mine that played says that you can, as a demon, you can open portals, so more demons get in, and that's I feel like playing.
Yeah,
so much.
That's what we'll do. We'll both get it, and we'll do a streaming series here on the channel or something. Like.
Oh yes, that would be amazing. We could do that.
That'd be so much fun.
Yes.
What's it?
Oh yes.
Because I've been mad to pick it up. I've been playing Dead by Daylight a lot lately because some friends got me into it. I was never really into it. Friends got me into it. Now I'm like obsessed because if I'm on my own and I don't have friends around, I'll play killer and just have fun. But I'm a nice killer. I'm not very mean. I'll kill a few people, but I might let someone survive. I always like doing the final girl trope, letting someone get out. But yeah, it's like that. I started teaching my
That's
daughter.
nice.
I started teaching my daughter that last night. We were here, and it's so funny what you were saying. We were playing Minecraft, and then after Minecraft, I was like, "You want to learn how to play Dead by Daylight?" And she was like, "Yes." I was like, "Okay." Set her up the PC.
Yes.
I sat over there with the Switch, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to show you.
Yes.
I'm going to be killer, and I'm going to show you what a killer is going to do. I won't be mean to you right out the gate, okay?"
Well, that's an actual amazing scene. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Right.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice, but do your homework. But this is gonna change.
Yeah, don't worry. As soon as you figure out how to do those skill checks, you're dead. I'm coming to kill you. Like,
Wow, that's an amazing thing. I have to do that with my kids.
yes. Well, it's like you said about Among Us. We played an Among Us match one night, and where like I killed her.
That's right. You're a big fat phony.
Paddy, I watched you kill Piper as a kid.
Whoa, wait a minute. What?
I knew it because he murdered me in the middle of the hall.
Paddy, you killed your own daughter.
It's because she's playing the Ghostbusters music over the game. I had to do it. And then
No,
and then,
you did.
I did. And then
No.
when someone found the body, I was like, "My baby girl, my baby girl, who killed her? No, you monsters!" I should have won a fucking Oscar. I was crying. I was like, "My daughter."
Yes.
We're so, as you say, right. One thing. We have such a dark sense of humor. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Yes. We also play a game in the porch. I don't know how to pronounce this in English. The Porsche, and the movie Porsche. Oh, that movie, that series of movies that there's one day a year that.
Oh
they
yes,
go
yeah.
crazy.
The Purge.
How is that pronounced?
The Purge.
Purge.
Yeah.
Purge. It's a difficult word.
I can imagine.
Word, there's a Roblox game for that.
No way.
And yes, we play together, and you can be one of the people hiding. And that's a very cool game because you have instructions. Like you have to run into a track full of people, like to move.
Yeah.
And then you get into a house, and then it starts saying, maybe like titles like that. Maybe you should cover the windows with the wooden planks that you find because you never know what's happening at night, and everyone just runs around the house just taking the wood and putting that. And then you get like, hey, you got an apple. Then you can, maybe you will survive one more day. Things like that.
Yeah.
Choose a bed. Make sure no one takes it from you. Hey, it's the pizza guy. Someone rings the bell. Who's gonna open? And one of the characters has to go and open. Like, it's a pizza guy. I'm not sure it's a pizza guy. But if it really is, and you don't go, you don't get any pizza.
You get the food. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's and suddenly someone breaks in the house. They attacked one team. You are okay, but it's completely random. I mean, it's not. Then suddenly go to the basement and hide this and hide. I mean, it's a cool game, and I play with her many times. She tells me, hey, I'm playing the Purge. Do you want to join? Okay, and she shouts from the room, you have to run because there's no more room in the truck, and I think if any neighbor is hearing us at this moment, they're gonna call the police.
But that's one thing I'll say actually as well is like, have you found as you've gotten like older with horror, right? Like that, have you found that like, I think this happens to everyone, but like that less scares you, like that you don't find yourself getting as like, well, I guess, I mean, again, psychological horror is that different type of terror, right? It's like inside, so you're not screaming, you're not reacting, you're just like in bed going like, oh God, I don't fucking know what to do with my life.
Yes.
But like I found that like even I go to all these festivals and I want to like I'm there, I'm like that feeling of when I was like a kid and I saw my first horror movies. I'm like, scare me, come on, fucking scare me, please. And I think the only one I can think of recently was an Argentinian film when I was at Fright Fest. called Terrified.
Yeah.
And that was the first one in ages that like the whole theater was just screaming. But then again, like I don't know. I was just gonna say, you know, the Spanish have a good reputation with horror. Let's be honest, or any like Spanish communities.
God, the good reputation, the Spanish. I don't think so. They don't even know what horror is.
No, like I think, but like even one of my favorites. Like you talked a little bit earlier about like that, like no taboos and stuff, and like facing the monster. Like,
yes.
Pan's Labyrinth, like that whole idea of like.
Well, yeah, but that was like a kind of mushroom in the middle of nothing. I mean, that's an amazing movie. And yeah, but that's an amazing movie. But it's so weird. It's from Spain.
Yeah.
It's an amazing movie, but it's also this kind of fantasy, like fairy tale kind of fantasy that the Spanish people like so much.
But then it's like it's like it's all fantasy and it's all whatever. But then when he like smashes the bottle and he like smashes the person's face in with it, you're like, oh, forget about the fantasy. Like this is reality. This is like this is what.
Yes, the thing. Yeah. Yes, I think that the thing about the Labyrinth, it's that it speaks about the horror of the Civil War here. So it's like you never know if what you're watching is the world, the mental world that the kid creates, just to get out of that horror. Because parallelly to that, you have the soldiers torturing the resistant people. You have, I mean, that's like just pure harsh reality of the Civil War here, with the horror fantasy that the kid has, like the thing with the eyes, like this. And yes, I mean, it's so you never know. You never know if, because when she dies, she's shot. I mean, she's because of the Civil War. So you never you never know exactly. And I think that's maybe it's not the same for someone that doesn't know the Civil War history here. Then it just, because if you don't know, it doesn't make any.
It doesn't hit the same.
I mean, not. Yes, I mean it makes sense because you understand that something a war is going on or something, so you can get that, but you don't understand exactly
the gravity,
the relation between that.
But like that's always my favorite. Always my favorite horror as well, though, is where it does touch on reality. You know, it's like exactly. It's even more scary. Because of that. You never know if that was true. It could have been everything in the child's mind, just to not to realize about what was happening in the war. So that was a very special movie. But I cannot remember any other Spanish movie like that. Well, see, I think my problem is I lump. This is a mistake, I guess, and on my part, I'm a little bit ignorant in this way. But I think sometimes I lump, like, as I say, like Spanish speaking. So like I think I go like, oh, Mexico has this amazing horror scene, and Argentina and blah. It's like I think that's a mistake on my part that I bunch like. I think I just look at like a lot of, you know, Latin filmmakers, Latino filmmakers, and you know, and as I say, like, I don't know if you saw like Tigers Are Not Afraid, for example, like Mexican movie, like that. Again, like Pan's Labyrinth, was that like this is the reality of what Mexico's actually like, but also how much of this is going on in the kids' heads, etc. It seems to be a common theme.
Yes, I think that it's easy. I mean, I understand the confusion there because, look, it's the same that you speak English, right? And in the UK, they speak English. And in Ireland, and it's like I said, okay, you are English because you speak English. That's not true. You can be from the US, you know? I mean, like if someone in New York, you say, because you're British. No, you're not British. No, but you speak English. No, it's like the language makes all the countries the same, and the same with France and the rest. But just to set an example. So this is more or less the same. We have nothing to do with Latin people. It's completely. I mean, it's like if we were, I don't know, France or Italy will just like Italians. You wouldn't say that a Latin person is like an Italian person.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because the names are different. It's just because we speak Spanish. And even though it's different, it's a different kind of Spanish.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand the Latin person perfectly. I
Yeah.
can understand them. But the Spanish I speak, it's called Castilian.
Yeah.
Because Spain in the medieval era was called Castilla.
Yeah.
So, yes, when I mention my language, I don't say I speak Spanish. I say I speak Castilian.
Ah, okay.
So yes, so we are even in culture and everything. We are so different.
Yeah.
Which is okay, just like as you are different from the US
Yeah.
or from Canada, or
Yeah.
it has nothing to do even more between Europe and
Yeah.
the American continent, which we have lots of differences.
I think it's
which is good.
It's because I mean, a lot of it as well is just colonialization, and the fact that would say the Spanish kind of went more to the south of America, and UK and Britain kind of went more to the north of America, and
exactly.
so like we all originated here.
Yes. Yeah, but that's true. That's why they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Because Spain went there. So,
but I do think that in a weird underlying way, I think it like again when you have colonialized countries as well, whether you're from the company or the country that colonized, or you're from the place, you carry like stories carry this, like even the stories that we tell, all of that stuff kind of, because again, Ireland was heavily colonized for years by the UK. And like when I write stories, some of that, even when I don't think about it, is like making it in there because it's just culture.
Yeah.
It's just culture,
Yes, and that's true, because I think that the kind of horror they can produce on South America in general, or Central America, I think it's based also on Spanish culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. For example, you compare the American kind of horror figures like Freddy Krueger, Michael, Jason, all of this, and a lot more, Ash, and compared to La Llorona,
yes,
Wendigo. I mean, in Spanish culture, everything has a cultural environment, so it's like witchcraft kind of horror, and that's because, well, it too. I mean, we're in Europe. Europe was the witch hunt.
Yes.
In the medieval era was the main thing. It's so we have a lot of. It's like sometimes when I have an interview or something like that with someone from the US, we always end up talking about the buildings, the old buildings we have here. We have 2,000 buildings year old, and Ireland too. I mean, you have the most. I think that Ireland is the most beautiful country in the whole in whole Europe. Is that? I mean, it blows my mind, and I think that the concept of a 2,000-year-old building or a 1,000-year-old, it's something that it's not in their mind.
It's impossible for
here,
them to get.
Exactly, and that it's a kind of different horror. It's like kind of romantic, because here I have a lot of convents, castles, there are ruins, just
churches,
like
cathedrals,
a window there.
Yeah.
Yes, so you go there, and I go with my kid. We go like, what do we do today? Let's see a castle, and we just look for it on Google, and something we haven't seen yet, and we just go. And when you see that, and you see that castle that it's lacking a wall, and you think, can you imagine the people here, like 1,000 years ago, those women with those dresses and the soldiers walking? I mean, that happened. It's real. This wall was here.
You can touch it, like you can feel it.
You can. Exactly. So it's impossible not to fall in the horror spiral thinking of all those things. And I think this is something we have in our mindset because we've been born here. So we know our churches, our cathedrals. I mean, it's so impressive, even being from here. And that's why I think our horror is so different. We have this kind of romantic background.
It's so...
Maybe not that slasher one, so to speak.
It's so interesting because, like, when you think about it, like, America is such a young country in the grand scheme of the world. Like,
yeah.
So, like, it's almost like they haven't necessarily found their folklore yet. Like, their folklore is the urban legend. It is the, like, there's a serial killer that broke out of a mental hospital and he's coming, Whereas, as you say, us, like, in European countries, we have folklore that dates back thousands of years that can be tapped into, and is
exactly,
and so what I always find fascinating is how much of our folklore can overlap, because in Ireland we have the banshee, the wailing woman. She cries, and if you hear her cry, you're gonna die. And then you look at La Llorona. It's just such a similar, like, it's
the same. Yeah, it's the same.
And it's like we were all disconnected.
Exactly
we were all disconnected thousands of years ago. It wasn't like Spain and Ireland were like communicating, or like, but like all these stories, they were just part of the actual consciousness of the people. It was like, they'd hear something, and that would be like, oh, it's a woman crying, and this is what's going to happen. They all got to the same conclusion.
Yes, exactly. yes, because who knows? Yeah. Maybe Ireland and Spain were not linked, but what about sailors? Yeah. What about commerce?
True.
So maybe that's a story that went from Ireland to Spain, just because of sailors meet, and they told they told those stories between them, and then they just spread around Europe. I mean, it's so interesting, and I think that is something so special about Europe.
This is where it gets dangerous, because like I could literally chat. I feel like I could chat to you about that type of stuff for literally hours, because like I love I love that type of stuff, like getting into the nitty gritty of, like, history, culture, how that makes horror what it is, and everything.
I love that.
Yeah, like, but what I'll quickly do is, I guess, are there any kind of jumping back to horror media again? Is there anything? We've talked about literature, we've talked about games. In terms of movies, is there anything like on your radar, or anything you're super excited about in terms of horror movies in the foreseeable future, I guess?
I want to watch A Smile. That it's going to be out the 30th.
You're good.
30th of September. I don't know how to pronounce that. I've watched the trailer, and I think I'm so disappointed in general with the new movies, because they are so commercial. They don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
So they are so light, like the exorcism of Hannah what? Hannah something, I don't remember.
No.
The last exorcism.
Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Candyman.
That's an older one.
Emily Rose, I love it.
Yeah, that was an older one.
Hannah Grace,
okay, yeah.
The Exorcism, Hannah Grace, and the last exorcism, Candyman remake. All of this, I'm so disappointed. So I normally have no expectations on the big Hollywood movies, but I've watched. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's trash, but I've watched the trailer of A Smile, that I'm sure you have to, because it's like everywhere. And I thought it seems pretty good. I mean, and it will be out on the 30th of September. So next week, it's 24th today, then next week. And I'm looking forward to it, because it really looks very creepy. But you never know, because sometimes they put the best in the trailer, so there's nothing left to the movie.
Absolutely. I will say that again, I feel the same, that like the concept of Smile looks amazing, because it's like it's that same vibe as The Ring or anything like that, where it's like, but like you pass this on to somebody else, and then like, so it's like that I find scary as well, is like you want to protect yourself, but if the only way to do that is to like kill somebody else, that's gonna, it's those moral questions and stuff. But yeah, I think it look, as you say, it's always so hard with modern horror. I'll put it to you this way. I really like the aesthetic of the new Hellraiser movie. I'm like, oh my god, Jamie Clayton looks amazing as Pinhead. Oh my god, those other Cenobites look so good. But then there's a part in my head after watching the trailer where I'm like, oh god, please don't just be another teens horror movie though, because like Hellraiser was so much more than that. Like, don't, please. Like, I beg you.
Yeah, don't do that. Yes. Yeah, well, it happened to me with Candyman. I mean, I was so disappointed with Candyman because it's not as scary at all. It could be like just a thriller.
Yeah.
And sometimes someone has asked me about that, like when it went out, and I made the joke that he's too handsome to be scary. Like he's not even scary if he appears to you like that. He's not scary. It's like more. They have changed the horror side of the movie for a pitch about racism.
Yeah.
And so it's okay. I mean, it's perfectly fine, absolutely. But it's not what a horror fan expects. I mean, is this a documentary or is this a horror movie?
Yeah, because it's good to have social.
I was so disappointed.
No, I get you, but it's good to have social commentary and stuff. But when it overrides, when it becomes the main thing about the movie, that's the problem. It's like, some of the older horror movies did this amazing. Let's look back at the Universal monsters, like Dracula, like was an introvert and he depressed, and like it discussed stuff about that. Wolfman, it was like, oh, animalistic urges, they're bad, you can't do that. Like they talked about real world things, but they were they were a horror movie first, and that was a secondary thing that if you wanted to look into it, you could learn.
Exactly, like a background, an environment, an explanation of what's happening. More than that,
Whereas, as you say, with some of the new ones, it's like they put that up the front. They're like, this is what it's really about. And you're like, okay, but I just want the horror. Where's the horror as well?
Yeah, where is... Yeah, exactly. Where is it? I don't see it, And, I don't know. It's difficult. It's like, for example, I had, when the Last Exorcism, I don't know if you've watched it.
Yeah.
There's this more... I had great expectations on it when I watched the trailer, because in the trailer there's all the good things about the movie. I mean, you could watch the trailer and say, okay, I watched the movie, you know. So, and I was so disappointed because, I mean, the corpse is great. I love it. The way she moves when no one is watching her, how she's contorted, but she goes prettier and prettier as the movie goes on. Like she ends up being a cheerleader. And I'm like, I'm not scared. I mean, it's okay. It's everything so predictable.
Clean as well.
Yeah. I mean, for example, the scene that you see from a security camera of the elevator, and she just trying to get into the elevator, and the thing crawling behind her when the corpse is supposed to be in the morgue. Like with the flickering lights, it's cool. It's so cool. It's an amazing image. But then, besides that, I don't know. It was nothing, and like predictable things. I mean, when it's a cheesy movie like The Evil Dead or The Attack of the Killer Donuts, you expect things because you know what's going to happen. But when it's a psychological or paranormal kind of movie, you don't want to know the end. You don't want to know the twist, And when you can predict that and you're right, then, like when she's that last moment with her taking her, that she's going into the furnace, and I thought, she's transferring the demon. And I'm sure she's transferring the demon. You can see the last scene of the movie in your mind. So just surprised me. There's something different, and I thought this is just commercial. This is just Hollywood. I mean, they don't want to offend anyone. They want to catch the fantasy, the thriller, and the horror audience, so they have a bigger reach. So we don't offend too much. It's a bit scary. The trailer looks creepy, but for a horror fan, it's like meh.
Like, there's a whole subset of people out there, though, as well, that, like, this is what it sometimes pisses me off. when people talk about like, they're like, spooky season, Halloween, I'm gonna watch all this, and I'm like, to most horror fans, like, every day is Halloween, bro. Like,
yeah.
Like, do you know,
I mean,
so you get those people that are like, oh, I'll go see the new Halloween in the cinema because, you know, it's my yearly event. It's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to watch the new Halloween. So they don't really care if it's that good or not. They just want something to go see that makes them feel like it's Halloween season. Whereas I think that's why, you know, like one of the reasons, again, I like what you do as a promoter is like, the indie scene is where the more interesting stuff is happening, and it's where the more interesting stuff's been happening for a while, you know.
Absolutely, yes.
Like, again, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, the most the most interesting material that I have watched, played, listened to, and I mean, it's the underground horror, is the independent horror. Because they are not attached or chained to commercial trash.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want because they are doing it because they love it.
Yeah. And they've got a story to tell.
Exactly. They have a story to tell. Exactly. And I think that's what makes the difference. So it's like when I sometimes you see people saying, no, I only read books or I only review books from traditionally published, you know, like, oh, if you're self-published, I don't know. And I always think, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've read amazing books from self-published authors, and I have read trash from traditional published books. I mean, it's just a way of closing your mind, you know? Like, I had, and like, there's some people that say, I don't read books that they are not in Goodreads. And I'm like, okay.
Look,
I mean,
I'm the type of person that if I have to download a PDF from somewhere, I don't care. Like, if it's just a random website and it's like, I'm like, okay, I'm up for anything.
Yes, I mean, it's like, I don't know. There's always this kind of people, or the reviewers that only work with paperbacks. I only work with paperbacks. Yeah, okay, I like paperbacks too. I don't like my stupid screen, but a paperback is expensive, and it's expensive to deliver. And I mean, a book, it's like months or even years of work from a person. So you're getting that for free, just so you can give your opinion, and you still say, no, I want a paperback. Like, I want a Lambo in my in my driveway, you know, and I don't have it, and I want a swimming pool also, you know, give it to me, I want it. So it's holy cow, you know, it's like some people, I don't know, like I want books for free too, but I can have it. Even when someone tells me to send me a paperback, I always tell them, I mean, I appreciate it and so much, and thank you, but I'm in Spain. To cross the paddle is expensive, and it's, you don't need to. I mean, because I don't want to seem rude like that. Send me your book, no. But if expensive, you can just send me your ebook. You know, I don't. But it's I don't know. There's some kind of people that are always like looking for something. And sometimes authors kind of feel like linked to that, like, you know, and maybe they are gonna leave a bad review. I mean, that's the funny thing, that maybe they don't like it, and you spend your money on that and waiting and sending it to them. What for?
And then it turns out. It was similar when I used to do the video game reviews. You know, like I'd always take a digital code. I'd be like, send me a code, it's fine. And because again, I also didn't like the weight of like if they did send me something, I'm the kind of person that like I always want to be totally honest. And then I'm like, if they go to all this effort to like send me this thing and it's like a fancy box and it's like they do all the extra trimmings, I'm like, what happens if I think this is absolute shit? Like, how do I then have to go on and be like, this is rubbish. You know, so it is. It's like it's like. Not so long ago, I had a friend who did a Kickstarter campaign for a horror book called The Epicureans, which I actually loved. I really enjoyed it, but it's like it's the kind of like to give you the first 15 pages. These really rich elitist people have these two children that they treat really nicely, etc. And they're like all out in a cabin, and then the children basically come to realize that they're being fattened up to be eaten. That these rich people, that's what they do, is like every couple of years they meet up and they like eat children. And it's fucking amazing. It's so,
like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like if Jeff Bezos was eating children. But I got sent an early copy of that because my friend was involved with the Kickstarter. He was like, "Look, would you be interested in taking a look at this for the Kickstarter?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Look, we'll send you a paperback as soon as it's ready." And I was like, "Dude, send me a PDF. I don't care. I'm going to be reading it in bed anyway."
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, you feel a bit pressed.
Yeah.
But that's why I always just made it clear.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, I'm okay with an ebook, with a PDF, whatever. You don't need to do this. Shipping to Spain is expensive. You know, but well, from there, if they want to do it.
Yeah. As you say,
I mean,
there is always something nice about a paperback. Like, as you said, it's the truest thing. Like when you get to sit like in the sun and you just got your paperback and like it's a whole vibe. It's a whole mood. Like I love it. Like nothing else.
Absolutely. I love paperbacks. I'm so old school, so much. Love paperbacks so much.
But as you say, it's not always.
They are expensive and exactly, it's expensive and you cannot always have it. Like, found it funny when sometimes I'm reading something on because I even read from my phone. I don't even have a big one.
That's me.
You know, yeah, exactly. And someone, I prefer paperbacks. Oh, don't just say, you know. Thank you. That was so useful.
It's like I prefer paperbacks too. It's like you're eating like chicken nuggets and chips. It's like I prefer steak. Yeah, I prefer steak as well. All right.
I love reading tiny. That's why I do it. You know.
Yeah, I love the light in my face when it's like
Yeah, exactly. Really.
No. What's it?
And then when you understand Michael and Jason and
when you're gonna go on the fucking killing spree.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Mar, I'm gonna kind of finish up. I suppose one last question, which is, what would you see, or what would you like to see as the future of horror? Like, where would you like to see horror go?
I would like horror not to be conditioned by commercial tendencies. I would like horror creators to be able to show whatever they want without anyone censoring them or putting them in jail on social media or shadow banning them. I mean, if fantasy fiction is fine, why is not horror fiction?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? You know, it's I would like horror to be visceral and sensorial and organic, again, as it was, without worrying about a bunch of Karens complaining about it. That's what I would like.
That sounds like a dream world where, like, basically French New Wave extremism is just everywhere. That'd be glorious. No, that's all. I'm the exact same. It's the reason I go to festivals, the reason I check out all the indie horror films and stuff is I'm always looking for that. Like, I'm like, if you've got a fresh voice and you're saying something that's outside the mainstream and outside the commercial, like, yes, let's do it.
Yes, I think that it's so sad that with the technology and all the knowledge and everything that we have now, we cannot make a good horror movie. For goodness sake, I can see the ropes in Jaws, you know, and it's a terrific movie. And why can't we make a good horror movie now?
Yeah.
No, like there's Insidious, The Conjuring, I love them. But beyond that, which are the mainstream good ones, such as the rest are no. It's like why can't we be good again?
Yeah,
if you want to watch good horror, you go back to Jaws
Or you go back
or
to
The Evil Dead.
Yeah, you go back to the 80s, basically.
To the 80s.
Yeah.
Exactly. The Shining, The Lost Boys,
Oh, hell yeah.
The Fog. Yeah, I mean, so it's okay, but it's so sad. Why can't we look forward
Yeah.
instead of hiding in the past? Right? It's like, oh, horror fans are so dramatic in that sense, you know, like we are stuck in the past. No, we're not stuck in the past. They're just publishing bullshit now. That's why you're stuck in the past, you know. So
But that's why. But that's why we're looking.
Good material.
We're lucky to have people like you, though, because again, you're going out and you're promoting stuff. So like, that's a good way to end this. It's like you're promoting stuff that would likely be buried by the big mainstream thing, you know.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
And that's so, as I say, like, look, when I was releasing movies 2 or 3 years ago, I wish that there had been a resource like that back then, to, you know, or I wish I'd known if I had, you know, I would have used that resource, because again, when you're a small indie person doing this stuff, you don't know where to start. You're like, well, how do I get my content seen at all? And then B, like, you're constantly told, well, if you don't have it on Netflix, or if you don't have it, you know, massively successful, then, you know, you're almost treated like a failure. It's always like, oh, your movie didn't get on Netflix? And you're like, I'm proud of my fucking movie, bro. I don't care if 12 people have seen it. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want my movie next to Twilight. You know, it's.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're chained to this. But I want to believe that this is going to change, because since I have been in this community, things have changed. I mean, there's a lot more resources, a lot more stream sites. I think that slowly this community is getting stronger, and there will be a moment where there will be strong enough joining forces between all of them, because you can't stop it. You can't stop all these creators.
Yeah.
It's like a volcano. I mean, any time it's going to just erupt. So I want to think we're building something.
I think so.
And if I'm wrong, well, I will be retired. You know? But I want to have some hope.
No, fair play.
Yeah.
And again, what's that saying? Be the change you want to see. So fair play to you for what you're doing, you know.
Well, I do what I can.
Well, Mar, thank you so much. What I'll do as well, guys, is I'll put, like, in the description down below, I'll put, like, the links to you know, the Bold Mom Horror Facebook, Instagram. You're everywhere, right? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter,
YouTube, yes.
YouTube.
We're everywhere.
Yes, because Mar also does really cool interviews too, so definitely go check those out.
Well, not as cool as yours.
That's, as you said, we'll support each other. That's what it's all about. It's like, and
yes.
That's how we get where we're going. But yeah, thank you for your time, Mar. I appreciate it more than you'd ever know. Thank you so much.
I know. Thank you for having me. This has been so fun, and I was so excited about this.
Look, no problem. And I'll finish up by saying what I say at the end of every video that I do, which is, remember that you are beautifully broken. You are perfectly imperfect. Let's survive together. Peace out. Thanks, Mar.
Okay, thank you.
Hey! Fuckface!